hear so often quotes and phrases like, happiness comes with lower expectations. This naive psychological concept has become so famous, so prevalent in our everyday life, that it's not uncommon to even find these kind of phrases or these kind of philosophy in psychological magazines. The concept is simple. If you have high expectations, you will be easily frustrated. But if you have low expectations, anything positive will be seen as a gain and as a source of happiness. But science shows that there is nothing more far from reality. Those people who have the highest expectations have better performance, more achievements, and higher levels of satisfaction.
I want to show kids that if they work hard, if they dream big, then everything is possible. So there's nothing that they cannot do.
Now, I would really like to see who has the audacity to say that Janja Garnbret didn't expect to win the Olympics. Even Miho Nonaka and Akio Noguchi said explicitly that they were aiming for gold at the Olympics. The core mistake of this reasoning comes from the fact that we use the term expectations for very different things. There are three main concepts that we have to define: expectations, demands, and self-confidence. Expectations are any type of predictions that are explicitly or implicitly formulated. We are very good at extracting statistical information from our environment, so much so that we don't even realize it. This process is called statistical learning, and is that thing that happens when you've been looking into one specific YouTuber a lot, and you don't know when the next video will come, but after certain days, you feel like, did they upload something? And you check the YouTube, and the latest video has been released just a few minutes before or 1 hour ago. You don't know when the next video will be released, but your brain is registering every time that there is a spike in dopamine and will be waiting for the next video without even you realizing it. Magic. In this case, it was an implicit expectation. When climbing, every time that you do a boulder or a route, you are making stats about what you're able to do and with which level of effort. It's making statistics and it's making expectations. These expectations are super useful and are guiding our behavior. For example, if you're used to climbing 7As and you're trying a 5A, it's normal that you won't be pulling as hard as you can. It will also be very inefficient for the whole session, because you will be using a lot of mental and physical resources. Any type of expectation comes with a certain degree of uncertainty, because it's coming from the process of statistical learning. It's not a black and white process. The more experience you will have with that element, the more precise the estimate will be. So what does this mean? Contrary to our beliefs, it means that you cannot lower your expectations. These predictions will always be in the back of your mind, whether you like it or not. So what can we actually change? It's what in cognitive behavioral therapy are called demands. Demands are cognitive representations, which is a fancy way of saying the set of beliefs you have about what you should do. Let's make a comparison. On one hand, you have, I expect to flash this 6A, and we could add with a high degree of certainty. And on the other hand, you could have, I should be able to flash this 6A. The expectation is just a matter of statistical facts. The more experience you have with 6As, the more precise the expectation would be of being able to flash this 6A. The confidence on this prediction depends on contingencies. Is it the style that you're used to? Are you properly warmed up? Are you injured? And so on. You could translate it into something like, I have a 95% probability of flashing this 6A. If the prediction is not met, you either modify the prediction, for example, I have 80% of probability of flashing 6As, or identify factors that create more contingencies. For example, I have 90% chance of flashing the 6A, but this estimate drops to an unknown degree if the 6A is a vertical crack. Demands, on the other hand, entails a judgment. If I flash the 6A, it's good. If I don't, it's bad. But bad for what? Usually, it's about what you think about what you're capable of doing. The problem is that there might be some deep consequences. For example, let's pretend that you fail flashing the 6A. You could derive the confidence, I'm not as strong as I thought, or I'm not as capable or skillful as I thought. And this will actually lower your self-confidence. Or even worse, you might think, I'm a failure as a climber. What am I even doing here if I can't send a 6A? I should have spent my time better doing something else rather than wasting my time here. This is a very disruptive thought. The intensity of these demands depend on how important your performance is for your identity as a climber. Not all judgments are dysfunctional, but demands are qualitatively different from judgments because they entail a judgment. So basically, it's not what we are thinking that could make us feel miserable, but is what you think about what you're thinking. So you can think, I can do this. And the problem is not that you're thinking, I can do this. The problem is what you think that means. What does it entail for you? When we say we lower our expectation, what we are actually doing is exploiting the uncertainty of expectations to not pose demands on ourselves. We pretend we are not 100% sure that we will send a 6A, so we expect not to send it. If you do this, not only you're lying to yourself, which has other consequences, but you're actually increasing the probability of making this prediction a reality. By trying to convince yourself that this is something that you shouldn't expect, you're actively decreasing your levels of self-confidence and you're decreasing the level of activation of your physical and mental capabilities. So what can we actually do about this? First, it's important to realize whether you're increasing the pressure that you're putting on yourself with demands. Do you expect to send it? Why? Why do you care? Second, accept your expectations and take them for what they are, just a statistical prediction depending on your past experiences. Third, learn and practice to believe in those uncertainties, rather than being afraid of them. Whenever I try a new route, no matter the grade, I always use it as on-site training. When I climbed my first 7A outdoors, I came to the crag for the very first time, knowing that that would be my project and actively willing to try to on-site it. At the time, I never on-sighted the 7A. Now I climb 7B and I on-sighted 1/6C plus and 1/6C. Okay, in our gym, we don't change routes very often, so I don't have many chances of on-sighting. But it was probably an expectation that had a very low chance of getting real. So if today I'm trying to on-sight a 7B, which is something that I usually do, I of course do not expect it because the chances are very low. I know that the chances are very low, but I use that uncertainty to say, you never know. You never know, and if you really try your best, you might be able to reach limits or heights that you wouldn't expect. Of course, if I on-site it, then I consider the idea of suggesting to downgrade the route, but that is another story. I like the motto, prepare for the worst, expect the best. I know that it's very unlikely that I on-site the 7B, but I'm still hoping for the best. I try to make my expectations as explicit as possible. I know nothing can be given for granted, but I will always work my best to be able to grasp that lucky moment if there is one. And if I don't reach my expectation, I use that as information to update my new expectations, my new beliefs. Am I weaker than I thought? Am I behind on this style compared to other styles? Are my opponents stronger than expected? Am I not ready to send this project? Do I need to work on the beta more? Am I more fatigued than I thought? All of this is very useful information to decide what to do next. I focus on what I want to achieve rather than what I should be achieving. I have nothing to prove to anyone, not even myself. And Janja is on the same page with me.
I feel expectations from others, but I don't care.
Right. You don't give a shit what I think.
At least
you're gonna be thinking about that tomorrow when you're up
like,
on like
oh
the
my
sixth
god,
bolt.
this guy
if I don't
said,
do this
like,
move, Calusa's gonna be so bummed.
Yeah. No, but I've been trying to keep off the expectations of others, like somewhere. Because like everybody will have an opinion on what you do, so the best thing you can do is do what you want to do. So
Right.
so yeah, I definitely feel like expectations of others and the pressure of others, but I'm trying not to let that get to me, because I try to do what I want to do. Like I keep repeating that, and I know that it's annoying, but it's true. Because like if you always do what others want you to do, then you will never be happy with what you want to do. So yeah, the best thing to do is just do what you want to do.
Let's remind ourselves that flashing, sending your project, winning a competitions are all outcome goals. And outcome goals depend on various factors that you're not always in control of. Of course, it depends on how much you train, but also depends on your health status, the level of your opponents, the style of the route setting, the style of the route, and even luck. We do like to achieve them, but they don't define you either as a climber nor as a person. So don't be afraid of being ambitious. Okay, so what do you think? Are you used to lowering your expectations to not feel disappointed? Do you feel like that impacts your mindset when you're climbing? Are you afraid of failure? Well, let me know your thoughts. And if you'd like to support me, you know what to do. Please subscribe, leave a like for the algorithm, and I will try to work my best for the next video. I'll see you. Stay psyched.
No, I'm not filming.
Are you commentating?
Yeah. I'm zooming in now as well.
As long as you don't use the wide angle, it's fine.
Okay. No. When you're climbing, I'm going to be very professional. I just need to get all this out now.
Get to like 2x2 pixels. That's a good
Yeah, exactly. When you see nothing.
It's like, oh, it's blue. What a shocker.
Yeah. So this is how I'm going to film for the rest of it. I got my finger in here, so. Okay.